We're going to focus on the approach to Teshuvah, repentance, of Rabbi Avram Yitzchok HaKohen Kook. Rav Kook was born in 1865 in what was then Latvia. He studied in the Belovski yeshiva for many years, and he became a tremendous scholar, author, visionary, poet and mystic. By the early 20th century, he finds himself in what was then Palestine, encouraging Jewish settlement in the land, and recognizing that everyone from across the Jewish spectrum had a role to play in rebuilding the land as a centre of Jewish life in our ancient homeland. Rav Kook eventually became first the chief rabbi in the Jaffa area, and then the first modern appointee to the role of chief rabbi, of course in pre-state land of Israel. His writings, ideas and students continue to be focal in the development of religious Zionism, and Rav Kook's own ideas, recorded in many, many volumes, remain an inspiration to me and so many others. It's typical of Rav Kook that he wrote systematically about Teshuvah, repentance, in a way that perhaps no one had done since the Rambam. In a work published under the title of Oros HaTeshuvah, The Lights of Teshuvah, in some complex but beautiful ideas, he explores the psychology of repentance and various ways in which it can take place. I'm going to look a little bit at a section from the second chapter of Oros HaTeshuvah, which is called Teshuvah Pisoimis Uteshuvah Hadargis, which means sudden repentance or gradual repentance. I'll read a little from the text, but perhaps best to explain the ideas. Lagabe meshech zmano, hateshuvah mischalekes lishnei chalokim, teshuvah pisoimis uteshuvah hadargis. With respect to the elapse of time, repentance can be categorized in two ways. There is sudden repentance and there is gradual repentance. Now, Rav Kook then explores what the difference is between them. Initially it seems rather obvious. He says, in his beautiful poetic language, that sudden repentance is not the result of a process. A person has what he calls a zeh barak ruchni, some kind of spiritual flash that enters his soul, her soul, and all at once one acknowledges the wrongdoing, things that are not right, that are sinful, and one becomes revolutionized and transformed into a different person. And at that very moment, one feels a sense of transformation and revolution. This can come, says Rav Kook, from some kind of external revelation. It can be a moment of inspiration, or it can come from something internal, which one might like to explore. The second category of tshuva is what he calls the gradual tshuva. As he says, Lo hivrika habrika b'kirboy lis'apech min ha'omek shel hara latov. There isn't some kind of tremendous flash within him, a sudden, if you like, revolutionary moment that transforms the bad into good in the very depths of his soul. Rather, one gradually recognises that things aren't right, and little by little set things in a proper direction. Whether it's one's desires, one's aspirations, one's physical direction, all of these have to be corrected little by little until they end up, as he says, la'at la'at, towards the darche hayosha, little by little towards the path of integrity and the right way of thinking. One is masakenes hamidos, one repairs one's bad character traits, and most importantly, corrects any wrongdoing. And one teaches oneself, as part of this process, how to sustain a new religious life. Rav Kook thinks that's rather important. Now, one could step back and say, well, that's very nice. All of us will have experienced gradual development. No one can learn to drive overnight. It's a period in which one learns a new skill, and gradually it becomes natural over a number of weeks or months, notwithstanding setbacks from time to time. And all of us have also experienced a speech, or a prayer, or a poem, or some kind of personal experience which is transformational, sometimes in a positive way, occasionally in a less positive way. Rav Kook does explain and compare a little bit about how these work. It's my feeling, and this is based on a contemporary of Rav Kook, the Shemishul of Sokochov, a Rebbe from Poland, that actually both of these must play a part in the religious experience at this time of year, and in fact whenever we are seeking to correct our religious path. There are strengths and weaknesses of each, you see. Sudden change, one feels excited, inspired, there's no long process. Suddenly, as Rav says, I am le'ish acher, I've been transformed into a different person. But as they say, easy come, easy go. Perhaps without the hard work, those moments of inspiration dissipate quickly and we're left disappointed. On the other hand, gradual tshuva can be hard slog, and we can give up before we actually get there, but once we have acquired step by step a new identity, it is more likely to stick. Real life, whether it's as we approach Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, demands that we integrate both. We cannot live without flashes of inspiration, and I hope for all of us that Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur will be those moments of inspiration, particularly with the ideas of Rav Kook, to see us through. But we also have to put in the hard slog to really change ourselves in a permanent and sustainable way. So Rav Kook identifies the two, and we can put them together and say that as we approach our internal narratives, as we think about who we are and what we want to be, we need a little of each. Some moments of inspiration, but some hard slog to go with it all. I wish you a kasiva, the chasima tova, and a wonderful year.